What is it about Mamdani's message that appears to be resonating with so many New Yorkers?
Yeah, I have to say, without that little line there about Donald Trump, you could almost put a lot of this messaging into a Donald Trump 2016 ad. This was sort of that populist message. It was on economic issues. It was not about identity politics like so many in the Democratic Party are these days. It was about a city that people can afford and about fighting back against billionaires and the oligarchy. This is a very resonant message right now. And, it's funny that Andrew Cuomo ends up, losing the Democratic primary, being forced to run on the independent line, which is kind of absurd to begin with. I mean, this is a guy who ran against Zohran Mamdani, lost, and now is running against him again and may win. Very, very unlikely. I mean, it's probably going to be Zohran Mamdani. But this is kind of the point here. Zohran is the upstart, the insurgent candidate, the more of the independent voice, and Andrew Cuomo is like just as establishment Democrat as you can possibly get. And so I think that the juice in the culture right now is with Zohran Mamdani. We're not talking about anything having to do with policy, just about messaging and about the kind of resonance you have in an area of just our cultural moment where independence, where this idea of connecting with everyday people against forces like the elites and the establishment and the gatekeepers, that message is really resonating. And so far, Andrew Cuomo has not done anything to puncture that. Now, he's got one more debate chance tonight. We'll see. He did not do a good job in the last debate last week, and there's certainly no indication that he'll do anything differently tonight.
You're right. There is something very relatable by recognizing that people are struggling with rent, with groceries, even with getting to work, with public transit, which has been a focus of Mamdani's campaign. So then you talk about Sliwa, and is he a spoiler in this race? And could he, if he dropped out, which there is pressure for him to do so, help one or the other candidate? President Trump, Steve, you mentioned him, was asked about whether he would call up GOP candidate Curtis Sliwa to drop out, and here's what he said.
Well, I looked at the polls, and looks like we're going to have a communist as the mayor of New York. It'll be very interesting. But here's the good news. He's got to go through the White House. Everything goes through the White House, at least this White House it does. And we'll have to see what happens. But if he dropped out, he's not going to win. And not looking too good for Cuomo either.
Maybe you know better than I, but how often does the White House, does the president get involved in a mayoral race, and what's the influence on this one?
Yeah, not much, but I will say, Donald Trump obviously is a New Yorker. He cares very much about New York City, loves New York City. I always remember as a big Apprentice fan. And I mean, that was like as much a New York show as it was a kind of reality TV show. And he was kind of running the city like he's the unofficial mayor of it at one point. So yes, he cares very much about it. And this is also why, I mean, you even see like a little of those lines there. It would not shock me if Zohran Mamdani wins in November in just a couple weeks, and then is in the White House meeting with President Trump by December, maybe, as the mayoral elect, because it's an important relationship that you have to have with the president of the United States and the most influential city in the United States as New York. And Mamdani, young guy, millennial, sitting there with Donald Trump, I could see that happening. I think that they're both going to be incentivized to have a good working relationship. Now, on the Curtis Sliwa side, this is not your traditional Republican. This is not someone like Eric Adams, maybe, who can get swayed by public opinion. Sliwa's in it. There is not a chance in my mind that this guy's dropping out. I think he makes very smart points about the idea that it shouldn't be on him to drop out. It should be on the Democratic side. If you want to give a chance to beat Zohran Mamdani, if you're Curtis Sliwa, tell Andrew Cuomo to back him. Back Curtis Sliwa. I mean, it is absolutely absurd that you would have the Republican candidate drop out, endorse an actual Democrat who happens to be running as an independent. I think he's given every indication he's not going to do it. He's not going to listen to Donald Trump either if Trump tries to sway him. So I think this is the race that we've got. And I think with that said, barring some insane circumstance tonight, Zohran Mamdani is the next mayor of New York.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We're looking forward to tonight's debate. I'm sure it's going to get heated. Steve, always a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.